When you ask about what companies need to do to take care of human rights, I think the very, very significant and the foremost thing that they need to do is accept freedom of association. When it comes to organizing, when it comes to workers organizing together and taking their issues, they need to listen, they need to encourage. So I think freedom of association is one very important area that companies need to at least take care of and hear what workers has to say. And the second thing that is important, in my view, is a very, very strategic stakeholder engagement. When we talk about strategic stakeholder engagement, we mean the right CSO engagements. It's important to also take into consideration, engage with the right CSOs, also not only about the philanthropic CSOs, but also organizations who are working on right-based approaches, because it's very important to look into the entire issue with a holistic purpose. Unless we take care of workers' rights perspective, I don't think it's really helpful to reach community at large in the present scenario of the country. I think government is an extremely important stakeholder, and I think the foremost thing is government needs to be open to be participating in consultations. They need to engage more in a more open-minded manner with CSOs and with companies together. And as we know that we have we had the labor reforms recently that has been created so much of debate. I think legislation is a very important part. A tripartite consultations with CSOs, with trade unions, is something which is highly desirable from the government when we look into major impact oriented things like labor reforms. There are so many stakeholders engaged who are working day to day at the grassroots level to understand workers issues. So it has to be a bottom-up approach when it comes to government's initiative, and more engagement from the government side to engage more stakeholders is very important for such reforms.